Oh, God. What do you have to say to the world, Loretta? I'm having a great year.
Lorie France established the Everyday Heroes Foundation, which was supposed to help children in need. That was established in Arizona under Erika's mother's name, Lorie France.
Investigators say Erika Kirk's own mother, Lorie France, allegedly sits on Superfeed's board.
The Erika Kirk rabbit hole just keeps getting deeper, and this time all eyes are turning toward Romania again. But instead of Erika, it's her mother, Lorie France, who's suddenly under the spotlight for some seriously questionable moves from her past. Reports are now surfacing online, dragging her name into old Romanian scandals involving shady partnerships and people accused of doing awful things years ago. Candace Owens reportedly dropped a massive file connecting Erika Kirk's Romanian orphanage to several figures with military backgrounds, people who were once under investigation for disturbing behavior toward young girls. That revelation alone has shaken the internet, but it doesn't stop there. Because some are now saying Lorie, not Erika, might have been the one quietly running the whole show from the very beginning. According to growing online chatter, Lorie may have played a bigger role than anyone realized, even arranging Erika's marriage to Charlie as part of a carefully calculated move that many now describe as strategic. And when you start looking into Lorie's background, the story only gets weirder. She's got old military connections, conflicting records about her past, and layers of secrecy that make people question who she really is. Something about Erika Kirk's identity keeps coming up, and the more people dig, the stranger it all gets. Things around Erika Kirk's family just keep getting messier. And now, people online are piecing together stories that don't seem to match up. But if her mother really is Lorie France from Scottsdale, Arizona, then everything takes a wild new turn. Because Lorie's past is loaded with government ties, military contracts, and tech operations that raise some serious eyebrows. Lorie is reportedly the CEO of E3 Tech Group, a company that grew out of or absorbed her earlier projects, G-Tech and A-Tech International. These companies are not your average small businesses. They've been linked to contracts involving the Department of Defense and the Department of Homeland Security, focusing on cutting-edge tech, artificial intelligence, and advanced defense systems. Think secure communication networks, surveillance integration, and drone control systems.
Researchers claim every one of these platforms was developed by Superfeed Technologies, an obscure for-profit company with global ties so murky that even its investors are hard to trace. Maybe it's no coincidence at all.
The kind of stuff that sounds straight out of a spy movie, but here's where things really heat up. Reports suggest that Lorie's companies have connections to Fort Huachuca, a major U.S. Army installation in Arizona known for training drone pilots and overseeing high-level intelligence and surveillance operations. That's exactly why the base keeps being mentioned in online conversations about mysterious events surrounding Charlie Kirk's story. It all ties back to a whistleblower named Mitch Snow, who allegedly told Candace Owens that he saw Erika, Brian Harpo, and others at Fort Huachuca around September 8th and 9th. That detail alone sent social media into a frenzy, and now Fort Huachuca has become a focal point of endless theories online. But things get even more tangled when you add in Arizona State Senator David Farnsworth, who reportedly worked with Erika's mom on what's being called the Blackout Wars initiatives. These projects center around EMP protection technology, tech designed to keep electronics running or recover quickly in case of an electromagnetic pulse event. For years, experts have warned about EMP threats, calling them invisible, fast, and nearly impossible for the public to verify. And that's exactly what makes them such a perfect cover for big defense spending, new surveillance programs, and government emergency powers. In that world, control becomes easier when people can't see or prove what actually happened, and Lorie's name keeps popping up in those circles. What's even wilder? An old documentary about EMP attacks and power grid vulnerabilities has recently resurfaced, and in it, Erika herself is seen talking about these threats while highlighting her mom's EMP protection work. Lorie France also reportedly co-authored a major publication titled Blackout Wars: State Initiatives to Achieve Preparedness Against an Electromagnetic Pulse Catastrophe. And if that wasn't enough, her military and defense ties run even deeper than anyone realized. So here's where things really start to sound like a spy thriller. Lorie France, the woman behind E3 Tech Group, isn't just running another tech company. Her firm provides specialized solutions for large-scale disasters, including natural events, cyber threats, and electromagnetic pulse incidents.
Now that Fort Huachuca has entered the conversation, all of a sudden we've learned that it's not such a stranger. Fort Huachuca and Cochise County, Arizona are directly linked to Erika Kirk through her mother, Lorie France, and her defense contracting firm, E3 Tech. because it peddles EMP-proof technology to the military that can only be tested at Fort Huachuca. It's the reason why Erika Kirk and her mom moved to Arizona in the first place, because Lorie France had to be in close proximity to her work at Fort Huachuca.
Sounds impressive, right? But one detail floating around online has made people stop and look twice. According to a researcher on Reddit, E3 Tech Group was even awarded the Joint Service Achievement Medal for its classified work during Operation Enduring Freedom and Operation Iraqi Freedom. That's a serious level of involvement, suggesting Lorie's company wasn't just another contractor, but part of something much bigger and much more secretive. Now, while everyone's been laser focused on Erika, many online are beginning to wonder if she was simply caught in a much larger web. A figurehead while Lorie pulled the real strings behind the curtain. And once again, everything circles back to Arizona and State Senator David Farnsworth. Farnsworth has been known for his strong interest in EMP-related technology and the Blackout Wars initiatives. Reports suggest he worked alongside Lorie to push for grid defense contracts in Arizona, programs designed to protect state infrastructure from cyber or electromagnetic attacks. But things take a strange twist when you see what else Farnsworth has been involved in. A resurfaced video shows him discussing the troubling issue of missing children in Arizona, a subject he's said to be deeply passionate about. On paper, that might sound like a noble cause, but combined with everything else going on, it's sparked a wave of speculation online. According to the Arizona legislature's official website, Farnsworth enjoys reading and has even studied the Book of Mormon in multiple languages. Most recently, he began studying it in Romanian, a detail that has people connecting dots right back to Erika and Lorie's long-running operations in Romania. And just when it couldn't get more tangled, Candace Owens stepped in, addressing the growing controversy around Erika's Romanian Angels charity. She claimed that Erika and her mother had once worked closely with a U.S. Army colonel who faced serious accusations overseas, and that's when the whispers about Romania started getting louder again. Here's where the story takes another twist. The same U.S. Army Colonel Otto Buscher that Erika personally thanked in one of her videos promoting the Romanian Angels charity is now raising fresh questions online. To be absolutely clear, there are no official reports.
Especially from the standpoint of she was getting involved with the government, so Homeland Security and Department of Defense.
We have 5 major threats that make our grid extremely vulnerable that we've presented to congressional officials. 1 being cyber, 2 being hackers, 3 being physical threats, 4th one is solar EMP, and the 5th one is man-made EMP. So the concern that we have is that we put out this critical information, and when we go over this risk analysis, they hear what we're saying, but they don't want to take action.
Reports linking Lorie France or Erika to any of the allegations surrounding Colonel Buscher. But the timing, the connections, and the recurring names have made people stop and wonder if all these coincidences are really just coincidences. And just when you think that's strange enough, there's another twist. Tyler Bauer, the COO of TPUSA and the man credited with introducing Charlie to Erika, reportedly traveled to Romania back in 2011 for reasons that still haven't been explained publicly. That one random trip has now become another piece in this tangled puzzle. So what is it about Romania that keeps showing up in every corner of this story? Is it simply chance? Or is there something deeper under the surface? Especially when Romania has already been mentioned in earlier global reports. Recently unsealed court documents connected to civil cases involving JP Morgan Chase reignited the debate. Within those filings, investigators noticed a money transfer of over $30,000 sent to an account at the Bank of Transylvania. While the name of the account holder remains redacted, both the bank and the Romanian city appear clearly listed. This revelation was even covered by Romanian media, which cited the same U.S. court documents. And the strangest part? Romania doesn't appear just once in those filings, it comes up multiple times. According to the reports, Eastern European countries, including Romania, were among the locations mentioned in connection with recruitment activity. Now, with all these overlapping details, the orphanage, the charity work, the military ties, and the unexplained trips, people online can't help but wonder if this is all just a coincidence or part of a far bigger web than anyone first realized. As the puzzle keeps growing, the picture surrounding Erika Kirk, her mother Lorie France, and their Romanian connections just keeps getting murkier and way more tangled than anyone expected. Each new detail that comes out makes it harder to tell where charity work ends and deeper agendas begin. And now, people online are asking tough questions, not just about the Romanian Angels Orphanage or Lorie's defense contracts.
To our children. This information comes from the report August 31st, and we've shared some of this in the past. 1,049 removals of children in August 2019 from their homes. Let that number sink in for a minute. I've seen it as low as 800. This is the highest I've seen it. It fluctuates, but that's a big number. And this is more alarming to me, that 1% of the children never go home.
But about what might have been happening behind the scenes all along, it starts with a simple fact. Erika's charity was supposed to be about helping children. The mission statement was clean, heartfelt, and emotional. But now, the same organization that once drew praise from politicians and faith leaders is facing public skepticism. The more people trace the financial records, the more it seems like the Romanian orphanage might have been sitting right at the crossroads of government aid, private donors, and tech defense money, a mix that doesn't make much sense for a nonprofit. And that's where Lorie comes back into the story. Her company, E3 Tech Group, has quietly expanded into global partnerships over the past decade. Its focus on EMP protection systems, AI defense, and military-grade communication networks means she's connected to people who operate on a completely different level from a normal business owner. According to multiple online sleuths, the company's name has appeared in at least a few international tech consortium reports related to critical infrastructure protection, something that immediately caught attention once her daughter's charity was mentioned in the same sentence. It sounds unbelievable, but it's all there in public filings. You have one side presenting the image of a caring family helping children overseas, and another side that's tied to classified defense work and shadow projects that most people only read about in conspiracy threads. And when those two worlds overlap, charity and defense, it's no surprise people start whispering about what's really going on. Adding to the confusion is that both Lorie and Erika have been photographed at political events across several states, standing beside senators, governors, and even key figures in major nonprofits. In most cases, these were charity galas or religious gatherings, but now, after all the recent leaks, those same photos are being reanalyzed frame by frame. People want to know who else was in the room, who signed what papers, and what those donations were really for. And then comes the question that refuses to go away. Wait, why Romania? Why does every thread seem to lead back there? Romania's been appearing in stories connected to intelligence programs, humanitarian projects, and private business ventures for years.
Lorie France established the Everyday Heroes Foundation, which was supposed to help children in need. That was established in Arizona under Erika's mother's name, Lorie France. What they decided to do, as charities do, is that they developed certain projects and certain missions, and what spun out from Lorie's charity was the Romanian Angels Project. And they got this deal with the military. They worked with the military in Romania to help.
It's a hub for tech outsourcing and government contracts, but also a place that's seen more than its share of scandals involving international organizations. And that's exactly why this overlap feels so suspicious to so many people, especially when Erika Kirk's charity is suddenly being mentioned alongside financial transfers and unsealed court filings. No one's making direct claims about involvement, but the optics alone are raising eyebrows. The mention of Romanian bank accounts, the Bank of Transylvania, and redacted account holders in official documents is enough to keep people talking, especially when online investigators claim there's a date match between some of those transfers and the charity's early funding rounds. Meanwhile, Candace Owens continues to keep this conversation alive. She's dropped hints in several live streams suggesting that the timing of certain events involving Erika, her mom, and key donors just doesn't add up. She's questioned how people with limited nonprofit experience managed to gain so much access, influence, and funding in such a short amount of time. And once again, the internet jumped on her every word. But the more that comes out, the more it starts looking like a family operation that might have been far more calculated than anyone initially believed. Some insiders claim that Lorie was known in certain circles as the architect, meaning she was the one who structured deals, pitched investors, and handled high-level introductions while Erika played the polished public face. And if that's true, then it's no wonder everything feels so coordinated. Even Charlie Kirk's marriage to Erika starts to look like it could have been more strategic than emotional, especially when you remember that their wedding reception doubled as a TPUSA fundraising event, allowing it to be partially written off as an organizational expense. Those optics are wild, especially considering the scale of donations that poured in afterward. Now take that same timeline and place it against when Lorie's tech company started ramping up its contracts and expanding internationally. The dates line up almost perfectly. Between 2017 and 2020, while Erika's charity and her personal brand were rising fast, Lorie's companies were reportedly bidding for and in some cases winning,
orphans, okay? Now, it is a fact that they worked with, at that time, Colonel Otto Buscher. Colonel Otto Buscher was then accused of running a brothel with young children, taking them onto the military base for himself, his sexual needs. A woman filed in Romania and said, this is what's actually happening. These children are going onto the base and they're being prostituted to military men. So,
federal contracts worth millions. The overlap between personal publicity and professional growth feels almost too smooth to be accidental. Another piece of this complex puzzle came out recently when a former project consultant, speaking anonymously, claimed that certain donors linked to the Romanian Angels Foundation were also investors in EMP defense startups. If that turns out to be true, then the charity might have served as a soft gateway, connecting high-profile figures from politics, religion, and defense into one shared network under the label of humanitarian work. Meanwhile, social media is losing it. There are Reddit threads, TikTok breakdowns, and full-length YouTube documentaries popping up daily, each one trying to connect the dots between Lorie, Erika, Arizona's power grid programs, and the Romania connection. Some people say it's just coincidence piled on coincidence, while others think we're staring at a real-life cloak and dagger operation disguised as charity work. And while that might sound extreme, there's no denying how strange this all looks from the outside, because when the same names appear across military contracts, orphanage records, and political fundraisers, people are going to start asking questions. One of the eeriest parts is how many of the original websites tied to Lorie's earlier companies have quietly disappeared. Old domains no longer work, company listings redirect to generic pages, and archived versions show project titles that sound like they belong in government briefings, not public charities. Titles like Strategic Grid Resilience Planning and Defense Communication Redundancy Development, phrases you wouldn't expect to see anywhere near a family-run nonprofit. It's all adding fuel to a growing belief that there might have been two realities running side by side: the public image built on kindness, family, and faith, and the shadow version that dealt in surveillance, defense contracts, and high-level connections that only a handful of insiders truly understood. And now that more pieces are leaking out, photos, financial filings, and resurfaced interviews, the public isn't backing down. Every new thread makes the story harder to control.
2011, Tyler Boyer also went to Romania to work with the Romanian government. I am still trying to determine exactly what he was doing with them.
And for the Kirk family, that might be the real nightmare, because once people start digging, they rarely stop. The bigger question now is what comes next. Will investigators ever look into these overlapping money trails? Will Lorie or Erika address the defense ties and Romanian links head on? Or will they, like so many others before them, simply go silent until the noise fades? Either way, one thing's clear: this isn't over. The deeper people dig, the more this looks less like a coincidence and more like a blueprint that's finally starting to crack open. So at this point, you really have to ask, is all of this just a bunch of wild coincidences, or is there something much deeper going on here? There are too many odd details stacking up, too many conflicting stories, and too many last-minute changes for everything to just be dismissed as random. And honestly, if Erika and her mother Lorie had just been transparent from the start about who they really are and what they've been involved in, none of this digging would have even been necessary. But instead, every time something surfaces, they shift the narrative, tweak a few details, and somehow make things even more confusing. Take one strange example that's got the internet buzzing: Lorie France fees divorce records. In those documents, Erika's birthday is listed as November 22nd, but when you check Erika's online profiles and Wikipedia page, it says November 20th. 2 days might not sound like much, but people online aren't buying that it's a typo. Why change your own birth date, especially when it's a public record? Mistakes happen, sure, but when it comes to a family that's already surrounded by secrecy and inconsistencies, that little shift starts to look deliberate. It's like someone's been trying to blur the edges, just enough to make people doubt what's real. And that's not even the strangest part. Lorie herself has been exposed for using multiple names across various legal and business documents. Some filings list her as Lorie Ann Stanley, while others use Lorie France or Loretta Fee. And yes, Erika herself has publicly referred to her mother as Loretta. So which one is the truth? Is it just name changes through marriage or something else entirely? Because when someone's identity keeps changing every few years, that's not just sloppy paperwork, that's a calculated choice. Some legal experts online have pointed out that switching between aliases can help obscure older records, especially when it comes to company ownership, property filings, or financial disclosures. And when those documents overlap with government contracts, it starts to look like more than just a coincidence. It's as if Lorie has been creating layers between her past and present. Layers that make it harder for anyone to connect the dots between E3 Tech Group, the Romanian orphanage, and all the mysterious defense-related work she's been tied to. Now, when you put all this together, the multiple names, the altered birth dates, the overlapping businesses, and the unusual government connections, it starts to paint a picture that's impossible to ignore. And it's not a flattering one. Some people online even suspect this could all have been part of a larger psychological operation, a psyop, designed to blend faith-based charity, political influence, and advanced tech into one controlled network. And if that's true, then Charlie Kirk might have been caught right in the middle of something he never saw coming. Because let's remember, Charlie's relationship with Erika wasn't just personal, it was public, polished, and deeply tied to his professional world. Their marriage was celebrated as a symbol of conservative strength and Christian unity, with major figures from his organization attending. But now, with everything that's come out about Erika's background and Lorie's web of connections, people are questioning if Charlie was ever really in control of his own story, or if he was carefully steered into it from the very beginning. And once you start thinking about it that way, everything starts to feel a little different. That massive wedding celebration, the charity partnerships, the political photo ops, all of it fits perfectly into a larger pattern of influence building. Whether or not Charlie knew the full truth, it's clear now that the world he thought he was building around faith and purpose might have had very different players operating behind the scenes. Even more telling are the recent digital cleanups. Dozens of old web pages, profiles, and interviews connected to Lorie and Erika have quietly disappeared over the past few months. Archived versions show that certain bios, timelines, and photo credits have been rewritten or deleted entirely. That's not normal behavior for people who claim they have nothing to hide. The more they delete, the more suspicious it looks, like someone trying to rewrite their own history before anyone can connect the missing pieces. And it's not just the documents or the deleted content. Even friends and former associates have gone silent. A few names that used to pop up regularly in Erika's circles have stopped engaging online altogether. Some profiles were made private, others completely vanished. Whether that's coincidence or a coordinated effort, no one can say for sure, but what's clear is that the narrative around this family has shifted from faith-driven philanthropy to a full-blown mystery that's got everyone talking. So what happens now? Will Erika finally step forward and explain why there are so many inconsistencies in her background and her mother's? Will Lorie come clean about her multiple identities and the exact nature of her defense contracts? Or will they continue to stay quiet, hoping the story eventually dies down while people move on to the next viral scandal? Because one thing's for sure, the internet doesn't forget. Once the public starts connecting names, dates, and documents, it's nearly impossible to stop the momentum. And for Erika and Lorie, that might mean a reckoning is closer than they think. The truth always has a way of breaking through, even when people try to bury it under layers of paperwork and secrecy. At this stage, the only thing everyone can agree on is that there are way too many unanswered questions. The contradictions aren't just small, they're massive. From birth dates to business names, from defense contracts to Romanian charities, every part of this story connects in ways that shouldn't make sense but somehow do. So maybe this isn't just another online conspiracy. Maybe it's the slow unraveling of a story that's been hidden in plain sight, a story that was never meant to be found. And if that's the case, then buckle up, because this investigation is just getting started. Make sure you like, subscribe, share, and drop a comment down below about what you think is really going on here, because we've got way more to uncover and you don't want to miss what comes next. See you in the next one.